over the years in many ways, and I'm just going to tell you one story. So Bruce came to Gilda's club through his friend Gail Addlestone. When Gail was diagnosed with metastatic cancer, she could no longer continue as a pediatric physician, so she turned her time and attention to Gilda's club. She knew how very important physical fitness was in her own cancer experience, so she came up with a win-win idea. She started a training program for people of all skill levels to prepare for the Country Music Half Marathon while also raising funds for Gilda's club. And Gilda's gang was born. They needed a coach, and that's where Bruce comes in. He committed 16 weeks, starting in January, every Saturday morning, early, cold Saturday mornings, to coach and motivate the first Gilda's gang group. And some of those original members are here tonight: Ronna Rubin, Julie West, Danielle Gilbert, Mary Beth Thomas, to name a few. As the weeks of training progressed, Gail's cancer also progressed. She developed metastasis in her bones, liver, lungs, and brain. She had chemo 3 days before the half marathon, and we all wondered if she'd be there on race day. Well, she was there, and she was determined to finish the project she had started. And Bruce was there. He had his runner's bib on, and his role as trainer was over. So he's an athlete and a fierce competitor by nature, and he could have run the race and tried for a personal best time. But instead, he decided to stay with Gail every step of the way, 13.1 miles. And at mile 10, Gail looked at Bruce and said, "I'd really like to finish this in under 4 hours. Do you think we can do that?" Bruce looked at his watch and he said, "If we speed up just a little bit, I think we can make it." So Gail looked at us and said, "Do y'all think you could walk a little faster?" So we did. But the moment that we crossed that finish line, hand in hand, let me tell you, it was a moment that was frozen in time. It was almost like watching a slow motion movie. And no matter how many years go by, none of us will ever forget that moment. Bruce showed up that night and he played the music for the after party at Gilda's club. And we celebrated with Gail. We danced and danced and laughed and laughed. And that's what Bruce does. He shows up. If you need him, he's there. And he will go every step with you. I could tell you more stories about Bruce and his service and commitment to Gilda's club, but time does not permit. So I just conclude that Bruce inspires us all as Nancy Saturn inspired us. Nancy loved life, and she lived life large. Bruce loves life, and he lives life large. I know because he's also my Facebook friend. Nancy was a great woman, and Bruce is a great guy. And in fact, if you Google great guy, his face will probably come up. Nancy filled every room when she walked in. And Bruce fills every room with that $1 million smile of his. Nancy was caring, giving, committed, generous, fun-loving, and beautiful. And Bruce is caring, giving, committed, generous, fun-loving. And he's not bad to look at either. So Bruce, can you come up here and let everybody have a good look?
That's not going to work, I can tell you. I appreciate everybody being here. everything changes. I had something all prepared I was going to do, and it just changes all the time. And at this point in time, the one thing that I can tell you is that a real good friend of mine that's actually sitting next to me told me a long time ago that when somebody gives you something, you just say thank you. And you appreciate it. And I can't say enough about what Gilda's Club has meant to me, but I do have to tell you a little bit about my story that Pam has maybe not shared to you. One of the things that she did say is that a lot of times whenever you have opportunities that you seek, and I know many of us in this room, and most of you that are very successful in this room, have sought out opportunities to become successful in certain areas of our lives. But Gilda's Club happened to be something that came to me. It was an opportunity that I didn't even seek it. I didn't know anything about Gilda's Club. I had no idea what Gilda's Club even was. And it sought me and it found me. And it found me at a very opportune time in my life, because a part of this story that Pam was a little bit off on, and I do appreciate it. I was a very competitive triathlete back in the day, as we called it, when I was younger. Actually, when I had met Gail, at that point in time, I had just found out that I couldn't run anymore because I'd had a lot of issues with my knee that basically I'd been told, if you keep running, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Well, this was a real hard thing for me. I'd spent 17 years of my life racing competitively in triathlons, and I'd done over 200 of them, and for me it was like, hey, let me, go out and set the world on fire with my racing in the competitive nature. And I didn't know what it was like to be relaxed and to just go out and have an easy race. That was not a part of my nature. And in 2006, I had the opportunity to play for an event at the Alistone's house basically for Gail's brother for his bar mitzvah. And here I am, non-Jewish, but I'm playing a bar mitzvah. What are the odds of that? So anyway, the funny thing about it is I happened to play a little music on the side, and we played that, and I ended up meeting Gail, and we got to talking a little bit. And in 2006, she asked me to play entertainment for Gilda's Club. And you were at Scarrett Bennett at that time. And I never will forget that night. I mean, it was a magical night for me. I remember playing. I remember a few of the ladies that were singing in front of me. They were requesting songs that I actually knew, which was what was even more impressive. I mean, I thought, wow, they're actually requesting things I know how to play. And it was my kind of music. And I also remember that Gail didn't make it to finish the race that night. I remember it being raining that night. I can tell you everything about that night, but I'm not going to get into that detail, but it was very, very strong in my mind. And then when she approached myself and also Denny Poor, who I don't think is able to be with us tonight, to be able to coach for the Gilda's game, I thought it was something that I was doing for Gilda's Club. Little did I know that it was actually an opportunity for me to learn a lot about myself. And when we were walking that race that day, Pam and Julie, Danielle, Mary Beth was in it running. She was out blazing the pace for all of us. When we were out doing that race, little did I know that whenever I crossed that finish line that day, that, I realized out of all the races that I had won, out of all the awards I had won, out of all the trophies that I had accumulated through the years, they didn't mean anything, because this was a race that was much bigger than any race I had ever won. And for me to have walked 13.1 miles and to feel like that I had really won made me realize what life was all about. So it changed me as an individual. It changed me and allowed me to realize it's not about winning a trophy. It's not about winning against a competitor. It's about winning the race of life and helping people along the way to achieve the best that they can achieve while they're here. And Gail taught me that, and all the times that we were training, and all the individuals that were involved taught me that, and it was a very special lesson. I went home that night. It's a very, very emotional time for me that night. I went home, I took all my trophies and all my awards, and I threw them away. I threw them in the dumpster that night. I realized this is what life is all about. It's about helping people and doing things for other people. And so the one thing that I'll leave you with tonight is I say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to learn what I need to do for myself and what I need to do in the rest of my life about helping others and doing things for other people. It's not about the competition. It's about trying to help other people win. And the one thing that really stood out for me also is to realize that, you know, in everything in life, we need to just be kind. And I heard a quote a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me, that, you know, you need to be kind because we never know what kind of fight other people are dealing with, and we never know what kind of battles other people are facing. So I appreciate very much this award, but I just have to say that even though I'm accepting this award, it's really something that I should be giving back to you because I appreciate everything you've done for me. And thank you very much. I love you all.